are the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis decks post the point update. I'm here with my beautiful wife, Sabrina.
Hi guys, how are you? And today we're going to be talking about Genesys update.
All right, lady, you did a good job. Congratulations. Get out now. Let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with y'all big dogs? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that your day phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. The Genesys ban list. It was quite lengthy, and while it did solve a couple of problems in the foreground, decks like Vanquish Soul being way too strong and FTKs, it also did a lot of subtle things. Obviously, throughout this video, I'm going to be talking about those subtle things and also giving you my thoughts on these Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks. Of course, now that we have so much testing with Genesys, that goes for personal testing between Top Deck TJ Crew and I, event results, and everything else in between, we are a lot more informed. So we're going to be ranking these strategies based on if they're the best of the best, all the way down to generate a new deck. Let's actually change these up a little bit. All right, so here we are, got new names and everything. Top gen deck, next gen, solid gen, might be cooking. These are the decks with a little bit of potential, and generate a new deck. You see what I did with the gen puns? I'm next gen. Let's go ahead and start off with Generator. Generator actually received quite a few hits. Some of them were fairly obvious. Leviathan, the Generator boss monster, received a 1-point increase, which may not seem like much until you realize you can no longer play True King of all calamities. And it pretty much shapes Generator as a different style Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. Fortunately enough, I still think it's one of the best. Generator's lost its ability to be able to hand loop you and to True King all calamity lock you. But it's still a crazy strong deck that generates a ton of tokens in advantage while using some powerful, huge beatstick monsters. Cyber Dragon! Yeah, brother man, I'm not even gonna waste your time. We all love Zane, but you're insane if you think this deck is gonna be cooking. Taking Cyber Dragon to a Genesys tournament might be equivalent to taking potato salad or raisins to a cookout. Okay, it might not be that bad. But Cyber Dragons don't necessarily have anything going for them that makes them a top Genesys deck. A going second Yu-Gi-Oh! Strategy that isn't really that strong going second. The problem still is no Link monsters, which actually do hurt Cyber Dragons because they have some pretty good Link plays. Next is Dinos. Dinos actually think topped an event though, and they lost Fossil Dig. Fossil Dig got a point decrease. Yeah, look, and it's not, I don't think that these decks are bad. When I make these tier lists, by the way, if I missed a Yu-Gi-Oh! Strategy, let me know down below in the comment section. I'll try to include it on the next one. I try to rank these decks on the ease of being able to win. Unfortunately, I think that these decks are way harder to win, and Genesys did not change their status. Dinosaur as an engine in certain Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks? Oh yeah! Dinosaur as a strategy that you should play. Misk is still at 1, brother. Misk is still at 1. Odeon! Odeon, the trap-based Yu-Gi-Oh! Strategy, actually should have been here. It is a top Genesys deck. The back row with this deck is crazy, and none of it really costs. But why am I no longer putting it here, and I'm putting it in solid gen deck? Oh, brother, you gotta love this update. Harpy's Feather Duster, Lightning Storm, and Heavy Storm got a huge decrease. This is a slap in the face. I think one of the biggest problems for Genesys when we opened up in the format was that back row went unchecked. There was not much stopping a player from setting 5 cards face down and saying, hey, my trap cards are better than yours, I can win. And players had to make a decision if they wanted to play crappy cards like Twin Twisters in their deck, or if they wanted to spring for a 30-point Harpy's Feather Duster. Now that's no longer the case. While I don't think that Odeon has completely fallen in the trash, it definitely has some checks inside of the format, and did get a slight increase. Dinomorphia also got a crazy increase. Look, man, I am telling you one thing about Genesys and why it's so interesting, right? Because when cards go up by just one singular point, it can change the entire dynamic. I want you to think about it. Dinomorphia Rexstrom is 91 points, right? Dinomorphia Domain, Dinomorphia Frenzy, Dinomorphia Intact are also 1 point. What's 1 times 3? Times 2 times 3. In order to play the 3 Domain and 3 Frenzy and the 1 Rexstrom, brother, you're already at 97 points. You combine that with back row removal actually being good. I think Dinomorphia went from maybe here-ish to like here-ish. I think that Dinomorphia still probably could be good, even if you dedicate all of the cards to the deck. There's actually another strategy on here, a couple of strategies that we have done that for, and it's pretty good. Dragon Rulers, on the other hand, I think that Dragon Rulers are a might be cooking deck. The new Dragon Ruler support, the main monster Spectral, is crazy. And then there's the extra deck monsters Chasma, Eclipse, and Disaster. They simply make this deck an ultimate cookage deck. I don't know about you, but summoning a 4600 attack monster that's unaffected by things is really, really strong. In my opinion, this is one of those ones, one of the stronger decks. It might just be a sleeper and it might be underrated. We're just gonna have to give it some time. Ninjas. It's been a long time coming, and now we about to be summoning ninjas. I am not Tien. I'm not Tien. I am not Tien. Ninjas received one of the biggest boosts ever, with both Yagaramu and Maze in the Battle Ninja both being reduced by 15 points each. Look, you guys can call me crazy, but I think this puts it at next gen. Seriously, one of the best ninja decks ever. Ninjas actually play really well into this format, and now that the important cards are not really as much, 20 points for all four instead of 80 points for all four is a huge difference. Now they can play disruptive cards that will allow you to be able to stay into the game. Brandon receives support. Yes! Bro, Lubellion got a decrease. Mirror J got a decrease. We in there, baby! Wait, what? Huh? Brandon Fusion got an increase. McCurrier got an increase. Titanclad got an increase. Sprint got an increase. Albion got an increase. Brother, what are we doing? I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. It's hard out there for a pimp. I'm still gonna put some hope into it. Keep in mind, Brandon did get new support with a new powerful spell card, but unfortunately, that got a 15-point increase, so you're gonna have to use all of these cards with your discretion. Fire King didn't see any increase, which is insane. Fire Kings feel like a natural Genesys YuGiOh deck, never really needing the extra deck to be able to thrive and being really good at blowing up the board, as well as taking advantage of blowing up the board situations. I think that Fire is going to be a pretty powerful deck, and I also think that Black Rose is a sleeper Yu-Gi-Oh deck. I want you to think about it. My man Brady topped a regional, got top 8, mind you, in a format full of floodgates using the Rose Dragon strategy. I think that Constant Bramble Rose, the card that just got a point increase, just one, and Black Rose are actually strong cards. So strong that this deck might be a solid Gen Yu-Gi-Oh deck. I want you to hear me out. I don't think that Konami is stupid. I think that the legendary decks that they're giving us may be very playable in Genesys. We'll talk a little bit more on that later though, because those decks are actually phenomenal. Archmage did get a couple of increases, but if I'm being honest with you, I still think it's one of the better decks in the game.
Well, while I got your attention, go ahead and go to the website and buy your Raven Wing sleeves. Y'all got it, you know. I own the company, so it's the best sleeves you'll ever get. You know, TheCaliEffect, he sucks at it. So go ahead and get it, you guys.
Yo, go. You're not even good at it. That's why we're getting the divorce. Heroes, I gave you guys hope. I'm sorry. We might be cooking. Now, guys, hear me out. This might be copium. I did bring Heroes down a rung, but I think that the deck can be playable. In fact, I have a dual challenge playing against Archmage that is coming up very soon, brother. I want you guys to let me know down below, what do you think of Heroes? But it had no hits to it. It actually low-key got an increase with board breaker cards like Duster and Lightning Storm going down. So it could be a deck that could cook. Absolute Zero is a crazy card. My brothers in Christ, Mitsurugi is dead. Give it up. They don't want you to play this deck, which is fair. TJ actually found a way to play Megalith Mitsurugi, and it was really strong, frustratingly strong. Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barriers, also went up, but I still think that this is a deck that might be cooking. Still a really low-cost deck that didn't need Trishula anyways, and Lancia Ancestral Dragon can be a legitimate threat. Lightsworn, my brother. Yeah, go ahead. Look, you're probably better off playing this deck in Modern. Iman actually took Lightsworn to the Las Vegas Regional despite our advice, and you won't believe it. He won exactly this many games. Brother, he lost to the Playing Chicken. The Chicken was put into the tournament bracket just to give people a bye. How do you lose to the bye round? What are you, the Dallas Cowboys? ABC, yeah, man, give it up. I really do like this deck, but it has way too many bricks and doesn't give the payoff. Now, Radiant Typhoon was a deck that I originally ranked low, and then players start splashing Goblin Bikers in it and all that other stuff, and it kind of became crazy. I actually think that Radiant Typhoon is a solid Jin deck. It did get some points increase, but the big reason why this deck was so competitive is because you could mix it with other ranked strategies. Hell, it actually might be next gen if I'm being honest. It's a deck that still addresses a need that we have naturally, destroying back row, and can actually make some pretty solid boards, though a lot of cards did go up in points, still a good deck. I think that Punk is a huge winner here. No Punk Foxy Tune went up by 5 points. That's it. It is no longer a pointless Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Get it? It is one of the better decks in the game, as people are starting to realize that the psychic support is not to be messed with, even with the emergency teleport costing 35 points, because it did go down. Raid Raptors are a deck that can really cook an opponent. Red Dragon Archfiend, in my opinion, look, it did get a price increase, but it's still fairly cheap. I'm gonna put it in solid Gen deck. I think one of the biggest problems for this deck is that Nibiru the Primal Being got a huge price decrease. That means that this deck now again fears Nibiru the Primal Being, and we gotta watch out for all of these Yu-Gi-Oh strategies. These combo decks can get hit with the rock. Utopia, I actually think, is another one of those solid rank 4 Yu-Gi-Oh decks. A lot of changes happen with the strategy, but I think it's still playable. I could be overestimating it. Vanquish Soul, my man. We actually have to be okay with the Vanquish Soul hits. If I'm being honest with you, Vanquish Soul was hella tuned down. Holy Sue getting a 23-point increase is the genuine killer here. It being 33 points alongside a Pot of Extravagance being 10 points. Yeah, brother, it might be cooking, but I think it's closer to cooked. I wouldn't say it's a bad deck, but saying it's a great deck might be a stretch. Gishki is a very loopy deck. When it's good, it's FTKing and OTKing and hand looping. So, yep, I'm glad that it got the points increase. And Goblin Biker, I would say, is a pretty solid Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Not necessarily too over the point, but now that it no longer can be mixed with decks like Radiant Typhoon as efficiently, it's just gonna come back down to earth. Now, here's a bold take, guys. Nobody's talking about Noturia. Nobody, you gotta hear me out. Let me cook, man. Notoria Beast, Notoria Barkion. Hey, oh, hold on. Come here. Let me get uncomfortably close. Notoria's Sacred Tree is unlimited, my brother. I think Notoria is solid, especially when you consider cards like the Ishizu cards only costing a point. This deck is really strong, but not stronger than Ninjas. You can go ahead and check out the duel challenge for confirmation. Now watch my even bolder take. Black Wings have all of the potential to be a good deck. And when I mean good deck, I mean my biasness might be showing. If I'm being honest, it's here, and this deck is here. Let's just keep it a beat. I really want this deck to succeed, and it actually does have all of the tools. Blackwing can be incredible. It can be a strong Yu-Gi-Oh deck. The only problem is, it's like a combo deck that Nib can cook. I think that Subterrors is also in the same situation. It's in a solid Gen deck. The big reason is that, yes, it got a point decrease, but the big thing is that Heavy Storm, Lightning Storm, and Harpy's Feather Duster also did, so good luck surviving that one. Megalith is... I think Megalith is still really good. Yes, the point increase does suck, but the point increase was almost necessary. Ritual strategies were kind of running the game. And lastly is the new anticipated Synchron deck, Yusei's deck. Look, man, I think that it would probably be right here. These two decks have the potential to go here, but if I'm seeing it correctly, I don't think Blackwing's got any support. They actually got a point increase, so I mean, it says that the deck is strong, but I don't think it's strong enough. That Synchron deck you might have to watch out for. Yusei might be cooking. And that's all that I have for the new Genesys meta tier list post the point release. Of course, if you guys think I forgot a strategy, or if you think I ranked the strategy too high or too low, let me know down below in the comment section. As always, I hope you guys are enjoying the videos and the Genesys content we create. Let us know what you guys want to see next. And until then, I'll catch you on the next video.